Before we get to the episode, exciting news. I have a new podcast, a second podcast. I am the host and producer of the Strandcast, the official podcast for Strand Bookstore in New York City at 12th and Broadway, the coolest independent bookstore. And now there's a podcast every other week featuring long-form conversations with authors from different genres. The Strandcast is available on iTunes and Stitcher. Just search for the Strandcast. Links will be in the show notes, of course, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now for the show. Hello there and welcome to Talk Music Talk with Boice. I am Boice. This is my podcast you are listening to. For that first time listener, Talk Music Talk is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long form conversations with people connected to music from different genres, different backgrounds, established and emerging music journalists, music therapists, musicians, people who do all kinds of things with music behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. And on this new episode, I had the pleasure of speaking to Michael Mwenso from Mwenso and the Shakes. He is a band leader, Harlem-based, originally from Sierra Leone and raised in London. He has been on the road since age 11, vocalist, multi-instrumentalist. If you have seen him live and you need to, he is an incredible dancer. Also, in this conversation, we talk about early groups that he was in. We talk about creating a community at Ronnie Scott's in London, where he hosted jam sessions. Later, he was handpicked by Wynton Marsalis to create events at Dizzy's at Jazz at Lincoln Center, which eventually led to the formation of the Shakes. In the conversation, we also talk about his influences, being a sideman versus a band leader, what it means to be a well-rounded artist, and much more. After the conversation, you will hear a song from the new Mwenso and the Shakes debut album. Emergence is the name, subtitled The Process of Coming Into Being, and the track is No Regrets. After the conversation, here it is. Without further ado, my conversation with Michael Mwenso from Mwenso and the Shakes. Enjoy. So the first album, why a live album?
That is really where we have dented our Q's and A's. That's really where we have been definitely more definitive in the sense of creating the sound that we have created as a band and as a unit. So we thought it's best to start with a live one. Yeah. And then we can evolve. Okay.
Had you considered doing a studio album
We
first?
did. We have some studio. We went into the studio. We did some studio tracks. You know, there's one studio track on there. And we have some studio tracks, but we felt it just evolved to that we would do a live one. And I think it's a better decision we made.
What did you feel was kind of that there was something missing between the live and the studio, or that you weren't hearing, seeing?
In the studio, it was more us getting used to the environment and how to deal with playing in a studio. You know, and dealing with the technique of it. You know, which we are still learning. So, but the next one is gonna be studio, and it's gonna be something different.
Okay. Do you like studio?
I do. Even me. I mean, I struggle with it too, you know, because I'm such a live performer. So I love the studio, but I'm still having to get used to it more, for sure. Yeah.
How do you feel about, because it seems like people want the artist to be complete, right? That you can do the studio, you can do the live, but some people may be better at one than the other. Do you have like any feelings on that?
Do I have feelings on
that you have to be both to be a complete artist?
It would be good if you can be good at both, because of the time we're in, where the studio trajectory has developed and grown to such a stratosphere of production, and when you hear the kind of production that is going on today in a lot of the albums and stuff like that, it's of such a high level that it is a technique that one must try and get into. But you know, when you're dealing with live performance, live art, such as black music, folk music, you know, there is a difference of things in them that perceives more to the live performance. Because, you know, in live performance, we're dealing with a ceremonial thing, in a sense that you're dealing with the ancestors and you're dealing with performing it live to have a relationship, to create a sort of altar of sort to them. So it depends, you know. The studio is one sort of thing. The live is a very spiritual thing, you know. But I think to be an artist of note, you have to do both. You know, when you know, I think even James Brown, who was a great live performing artist, he was great in the studio. Even though he didn't really have any technique about studio, just like one take, and he'd be like, the first take is God, the second take is man. But you know, all of the great ones you love, they were able to get the sound on both. So you want to get to that. The way Billy Eckstine sings, the way Sarah Vaughan sings, she sings live like that, but she sings also in the studio like that. So you want to get to that.
Yeah. So what did you feel, when did you discover on stage that was something like kinetic? And because there's this great energy and everything that's happening on the stage with you.
When did I realize
that you love? Was it immediate?
It was definitely immediate. It was immediate in a sense from being like 11 years old and getting into bands. You know, I was with a swing band called the Jive Aces. They were Scientologists, and I went on the road with them when I was like 11. And from the moment we drove up to the gas station to get gas, I knew that was, you know, I wanted to be in front of people. It was even that. And then even then getting to the festival, to the gig and the sound check, and then you do the sound check, then you eat together. And after you eat together, you go on stage and people like it, and then you get to speak to them after. From then, it was it. I wanted to be I wanted to be on the road. I wanted to perform. I wanted to be in front of people. So it started from then. But all of the great things I was attracted to musically were always the greatest also performing artists. You know, I was very fascinated by the art of performance. And I was very fascinated by, of course, the Sammy Davis Jr.'s and the James Brown and and all of the great artists, entertainers of the music in a certain way. So I was very captivated by that, and I knew that I wanted to have some sort of stream into it. Where were you playing with this band? London. You know, I was living as a boy. I was raised in London. Of course, I was born in Sierra Leone, but we moved, and then London was really where the music bug caught me in a certain way, and I started to play trombone, and then I was singing a little bit, and then that allowed me to then kind of delve into kind of playing with a lot of different bands, reggae bands, holiday resort bands. I performed a lot with Tony Allen when I was younger. So it allowed me to really learn the art of being a sideman. And then also be able to understand how to lead, to see what leaders did, what they didn't do, which was right. You know.
What would you learn as a sideman, and what would you learn as a band leading?
As a sideman, you learn a lot of things to do with your humanity. You learn that you have to kind of get along with people. You learn that, which is a lot of in the ethics and values of jazz too. But you learn as a sideman to create with people, to be humble, to learn how to also, you know, try and have some individuality, but also that is about the group, which also adds to then you being a leader, where a leader is also about being selfless. And being able to let others be free and to enjoy the spirit of letting people be presented. You have to enjoy featuring people. For me, I realized 18, 19, 20, 21, but I also enjoyed letting people be seen. I wanted to promote people. I wanted to present people and say, this is a great person, this is a great musician. And, you know, as I grew and developed from the work I was doing at Ronnie Scott's and into Jazz at Lincoln Center, that became a very unique thing within it, in the sense of being someone that also wants to present people.
Yeah.
Which is still in the pathos of what the Shakes are too.
Okay. So with the Scientologist band, how'd you get involved with the... You think I was going to let that slide, did you?
I know. Well, that's funny enough. I saw them very recently. I hadn't seen them in about 10 years.
Yeah, I have no opinion on them. So.
No. They're Scientologists. They're called the Jive Aces.
Okay, how'd you get involved with them?
And I met them in a shopping mall every Friday in London. There's a shopping center called Whiteley's. And every Friday, this is actually also a very instrumental part of the journey. Every Friday, a band would play.
Yeah.
At the shopping mall. And this one week, this band played.
Yeah.
Went on stage with them. I just jumped on stage, started singing Louis Jordan's Caledonia.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then that's how I met them. And, and through that, then they would invite me and my mother to go to L. Ron Hubbard's house. Where they'd have these celebrity kind of conventions.
Yeah.
Celebrity conventions. I mean, it's not like celebrity conventions, but like they have these kind of conventions in anniversary of something to do with the Scientology, Dianetics, all that stuff.
Okay.
So I performed at them, and then I would go on the road with them a little bit, and we played a lot of beer, jazz festivals, ale and blues festivals, and that was really my first experience. But they were very, unique, interesting people.
Yeah. You were young, but did that feel attracted to you in any way? The way
Scientology?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. But I already by then I'd had a lot of. Also, by that time, or close to that, I'd already had some kind of religious journeys in a sense.
Yeah.
From other parts of the life that was happening.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't draw me because my mom was very, she was very cautious.
Okay.
Being an African woman, but kind of a colonized Christian kind of African woman,
Okay.
So yeah.
So she made sure you were safe.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know what this thing is. This thing is this thing is something. So anyway, so that's what happened.
Okay, good. So why did you move from Sierra Leone?
My mother got married. She fell in love and got married to a beautiful man called Roger Harrington. And they fell in love in Sierra Leone, and then he asked her to come to London and to get married. Yeah. And we moved to London, and he died after about a year and a half in a car crash. And it was a very, that all of that is very connected to the music coming involved, and because my mom she struggled a lot after he died, in the sense of, losing her husband, and having to deal with that, and having to bring up a child on her own. And so that was a very pivotal time of also music becoming quite a counselor in my young. Yeah,
you started playing trombone already. Okay, and did you choose trombone? Or?
No, I didn't. I wanted to play trumpet, but the brass teacher, Mr. Richard Todd, he said my lips were too big. Okay. And then I wanted to show him a picture of Louis Armstrong and go, what the hell are you talking about right now? Have you seen these people's lips? I don't know what he was talking about. But it was all right. The trombone, it took me places. The trombone took me places. Yeah. So I'm thankful.
So the trombone was first. When did you start singing?
Singing was happening. I was singing with the Jive Aces too. I'd be playing a little trombone and be singing a little bit, do little Louis Jordan tunes, and so singing was always happening. And then really kind of only was doing trombone till about 19, 20, 21, and then decided I wanted to really just pursue being a singer because I felt like it would make the journey faster. Okay. And it did, because then I kind of developed in another way, and then was able to kind of like open up more of my artistry, which has evolved to now.
Yeah. Had you been thinking at that point, like, okay, what could happen? Like, what type of group you wanted to have?
No. Yes, but no. I had groups. I had a group called Mother Popcorn. They were a group I had in London.
after the James Brown song.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I had a group, and then and then I had a group, a male vocal combustion group, which was a group of 4 other great musicians who also could sing.
Mm-hmm.
4 great musicians, and they also scattered too.
Yeah.
So I had a group, and they were all older than me. They were all in their 40s and 50s, and we would do like John Hendricks stuff. That was the group I had. That was the first. That was a great group of learning because they were all older men.
Okay.
So I had to learn a lot in that.
What were they teaching you?
Being with older men is different. If you're young, 20-something year old, and you with older men, it's different vibes they have.
Yeah.
Different moods. You have to learn. I think they really taught me a lot in the sense of me learning about people and learning about how to deal with people and stuff because they were all unique in their own way.
Yeah. Was there any of like a father figure type thing after?
Well, I never knew my father, and then there was a great father figure. There's been many, I would probably say. I would say that Thomas J. Blowfield. He was my mother's landlord when she was much younger, and then became my godfather years later.
Okay.
He really was like a father figure. He was the benefactor too, in a certain way that allowed me to go out and see these shows. And if I wanted to see Ray Charles or B.B. King or Bobby Bland, he would wait backstage with me. So he was a father figure.
Okay.
I was always looking for a father figure of some sort.
Yeah. Talk about how you were organizing shows at Ronnie Scott's in London. How'd that come about?
Well, Ronnie Scott's, I was going as a young child. And
so are you sneaking in? Or
my mother knew. My mother would go there in the late 1970s.
Yeah.
To the discotheque upstairs. Okay. And she always said she swears she was gonna go downstairs one time because she swears she saw the name Charles Mingus, but she said, "Oh, let me go upstairs and just have a little boogie." Okay. But she knows she missed Bill Evans and Charles Mingus. And years later, as I was getting into jazz, she still knew some of the people that worked there. Yeah. She was working as a hostess in the area in Soho, and I was getting into this jazz deep, and she said, she went there and said, "Hey, this is my son." There was some people that still remembered her from there, and they said, "Come on," and they let me go in there while she was working. Yeah. So that's where I really was exposed to seeing the last of the giants in a certain way, of seeing Betty Carter and Elvin Jones and Hank Jones and James Moody and Tommy Flanagan, all these people that I got to see, Billy Higgins, Cedar Walton, all these people that I got to see who are no longer here, Johnny Griffin. I got to see him when I was like 11, 12 years old. And then years later, I went back there, and the Ronnie Scott had died. Yeah. Pete King, who was his partner, had sold it to a very lovely woman called Sally Green, and I went there and I said, this because a lot of musicians had left there in a certain way because they felt like it wasn't the same vibe. Okay. I said, well, you need to start some sort of scene here. And they said, what do you mean a scene? I said, okay, maybe we start with a jam session. Yeah. And that's how I was able to create a scene there. And then out of that came a community that really developed and grew to be something very deep in London. How long did you do that? 4 years. Okay. And what do you learn about organizing and like how that plays into being? That was Ronnie Scott's was the college. The college, in the sense that's where I learned about the music and how to curate the music and what time what people want to hear at 11 o'clock. People don't want to hear everything at 11 o'clock. They want to hear a certain type of vibe of music. And then that's where I also learned how to narrate the music in a certain way, like be able to talk about the music to people, make them understand it. That's why I learned how to deal with musicians more in a sense of like putting together a set with them, So that was the college. Yeah. And then and that allowed me to really get a degree in understanding the music, curating the music, and presenting it in a way that you understand how to engage and also teach people about the music,
Okay.
to them learning about it too. And then, of course, was very blessed that when Marcellus came, and he saw what was going on there, and then that's when he asked me to come to Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Okay. So before I get to him, what would make a great night at your club when you were organizing a night? What did that look like to you?
All kinds of different people, black, white, all different generations, from 19 to 80. Some sort of dance factor. Some people are dancing in the room. A group of people intently listening to the music and making noise and screaming and hollering.
Yeah, that person. Oh.
Yeah, people listening to songs. People going crazy. And whoever is the musicians playing some deep music. And other things going on too.
Yeah.
We won't mention them on here, but you have to create an environment that allows everyone to be themselves, and also put something on that deals with the intellect and the spiritual and the physical, which is what we say. You want people dancing, you want people really digging the music intellectually, but you also want people also feeling it spiritually.
Yeah.
But you also want to create a social atmosphere.
Okay.
There has to be a social atmosphere to whatever kind of art curation you're trying to do, so that normal people can get involved.
Okay, got it. And so how did Wynton Marsalis, did he just come up to you? How did that
Known him again since I was 15. And stayed in contact with him over the years. And would come to New York 18, 19 and stay with him and stuff. And then, he had been banned there from Ronnie Scott's many years ago by Ronnie Scott because they put him in this Yama hotel with rats and mice, and he complained, and he said, I ain't gonna play. And then they said, ooh, and they wanted to sue him. So he didn't go Ronnie Scott for like 20 years.
Okay.
So it was a big deal, him coming back.
Yeah.
So he came, and then he saw what was going on. He said, man, you gotta bring this to Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
And then that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And then that was the university.
What do you think he saw in you and what you were doing?
I'm
sure there's a lot of people who have liked to have been in that position that you were in.
I think he saw how much I loved the music, and how seriously I believed in it, and how seriously I try to understand the ancestral importance of it. The people that came before us, the importance of being a participant. I think he understood. I think he liked that I understood the values of being a musician. As of an art form, which is to protect it and guard it and love it. And I think that was very rare for him to see. Some black kid from Africa that was living in London that knew a lot about the music in a certain way.
Okay.
And I don't think he saw that as much.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely what he saw.
Okay. So you started doing for Dizzy's, right?
Yeah, for Dizzy's, but not really just for Dizzy's. He allowed me to learn how to program with him and program the season with him. So he allowed me to have a voice.
Okay.
As a young man, and have a voice in a certain way, to have some sort of microphone in a way to be able to have an opinion of, this is also what this young man thinks, and we have to put his stuff in here too.
Okay, got it.
And he allowed me not just to have a voice with what was going on in the club, but throughout the whole organization, a certain way of programming, which was very deep.
Yeah. So what do you learn differently from being at Ronnie Scott's?
It's larger. It's corporate.
Yeah.
A lot more people. A lot more politics.
Yeah.
A lot more diplomacy you have to learn. A lot more administration you have to learn. A lot more learning how to write an email. A lot more being code switching.
Yeah.
As a young man, as a young black man, a lot more learning the art of speaking to people who are in different frameworks of life. How do you speak to someone who may have an interest in funding for the music? How do you talk to someone like that? How do you code switch in all the different environments to be able to be an artist that allows yourself to understand what's going on and not just be a blind artist or a blind jazz musician who just knows how to play the music, but also you have an understanding of what actually is going on in here. So big difference.
Yeah,
Ronnie Scott's is beautiful, but in as I said, it's the college.
Yes.
Jazz and Consent is like Harvard University. And then you're also dealing with, him who is unique. And very amazing mind and stuff, But I wasn't. Now I'm so thankful in a certain way because now we're doing our own thing as Mwenso and the Shakes. We have things that we're doing and stuff like that, and a lot of meetings. Let's say that we have a big 32 city tour called Harlem 100.
Yeah,
celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Harlem Renaissance, and there's a lot of meetings, and a lot of meetings with this one and that one, that phone call meetings. And I said to Jono, my manager over there, I said, if I didn't have that jazz and consent training, I wouldn't understand all the meeting shape. I'd be like, what the? But you understand.
Yes. Did you resist that initially when all those different ways you had to new learning?
I probably did. I probably, you don't know when you're in it.
Yeah.
But I know now. I said, if I didn't understand it back then, I know now, you know. But, if I didn't have that education then, I would be lost now.
Okay. And when, how far off is this from doing Mwenso and the Shakes?
It's been now 4 years.
Okay.
Since Jazz Nichols Center.
So how did that come about that you decided to put that together?
Well, Mwenso and the Shakes is one of the gifts that comes out of the community of the scene that was created at Jazz Nichols Center.
Okay.
These are musicians that I particularly got close to, and there's many others who really became core forces of what I was creating at Jazz Nichols Center, and they became very important to it being what it was, and out of that comes out the Shakes, and there's a lot of other great bands too. A lot of great musicians out here who I would say come out of that human experience of what was going on. But the Shakes is definitely my personal endeavor of forces that made it be something, and that now it is something. And it has evolved to even like what it has become is something I never would have foreseen.
Yeah. Did you have like an idea what it might be in the beginning and how that changed?
No, I didn't see it. To be honest, I didn't. I don't think I saw it. I saw it, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see that everything that all the music I've listened to and the way I felt about how to present it and my spiritual feelings, I'd be able to put it in all one context.
Okay.
I never thought that'd be possible.
Okay.
And to be free in it.
Yeah.
And to look the way I want to look. Create music the way I want to create it.
Okay.
And that you find people that are also aligned with that too.
Yeah. When did you start to realize that? That you could sort of have all these things dovetail to this group?
Maybe the last 3 years.
Okay.
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. The first year you're just wondering.
Yeah. How many people are in the group? It's like 80 people in there.
You said 80? You know what? You're right. I'm gonna be real. No, I mean, I love it. No, that's real. The community that it is. when you talk about the musicians that come out of the community that was created, you talk about a lot of musicians, Jameson, Ross, Chris Pattershaw, all kinds of different musicians out here. There is about 100.
Yeah.
What the Shakes itself is about. The community is about 100.
Okay.
The Shakes itself and the alumni of that is about 50.
Okay, got it.
And then what we go out on the road with is about 10.
Okay. Which is still a lot.
It's a lot. I'm crazy because I don't make no money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to answer.
But I love it.
Do you consider yourself with the practicality and finances?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm very blessed that I have John Gasparo, who's my manager, to help me with that. Because I would just, if I'd still be having, let's bring 30 people on the stage.
Yeah.
That's the aim. I want to just have 30 people on stage. When we have the money, that's really, I want to have, P-Funk, Sun Ra.
Why not?
There's 50 different things going on stage. But we have brought it up. Now we have dancers.
Okay.
We have two dancers.
Okay.
Michaela Lerman, who's our tap dancer and vocalist, she's doing her thing, but now we have 2 extra dancers, which is now adding a nice vibe.
Nice. So talk about the tour, Harlem 100.
Harlem 100 is a little bit different to Mwenso and the Shakes. It's us, but it's more a unique presentation dedicated to the music and artists of the Harlem Renaissance.
Okay.
Fats Waller, Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington. And done in our own way, but with a script and a narrative. And it's going to be unique.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in 32 cities. And we start in October. And it's going to be amazing.
Okay. How'd you conceive of all this?
It's music that we've been playing for a long time.
Okay.
Because we believe that, you have to deal with all the aspects of the music in a certain way. All the different time periods from this period to that period, all of it must be part of your function. But this was really something that was put together by my manager in a certain way and conceived with IMG, who were producing it. But it's really music that we have been muscling with for a long time.
Okay. Now, will that change from show to show, or are you going to be...
It will change, because it's us. Yeah. It will change. It will change. It will have a certain foundation, but it will change.
Okay, got it. And anything else you're working on, or just focusing on that?
We got a new show that we're going to be also writing, that we're going to be debuting at the National Sawdust in Brooklyn, which is going to be unique, another type of presentation. Okay. We haven't wrote it yet, but we will be. And a lot of things coming up. Okay.
What do you get differently from having like the presentations as opposed to just going out on stage and just performing a bunch of songs? Like having some sort of umbrella to it.
We do that, it happens sometimes because we code switch. So sometimes it calls for us to just do that.
Okay.
If we're in a kind of intimate atmosphere.
Okay.
But we do like to put on a show.
Okay, good. And best place people check out your music.
WhenSonTheShakes.com, Instagram, Facebook, social media. Check out the album. It's out there, Emergence. It's on Spotify. Check it out.
Great, good. Did I leave anything out?
You didn't.
No, this was wonderful. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Ancestors above me, give me the strength to get through the day. When I am weak, make me strong. When I am tired, make me whole. And when I am lonely, make me calm. And when I'm sad, cure me. Cure me from ever doubting myself, from ever doubting how much strength I have. Make me stronger through my fears. Give me the ability to rise so high, only the ancestors can hold me. Why don't you stand up tall? Why don't you stand up tall? And you will
stand tall, my friend. Stand tall.
Stand tall, my friend.
Stand tall, my friend.
Whatever you want to do in your life, you gotta fight for it hard.
Stand tall.
Sometimes we fight and argue. Sometimes we fight and argue. Sometimes we fight and argue. So you win. And you
Time will tell when all those things will come to pass.
You better stand up tall. You better stand up tall. You better stand up tall. And you will
Stand tall, my friend. Stand tall.
stand tall.
Stand tall, my friend. Stand tall.
Sometimes we fight and argue. Sometimes we fight and argue. Sometimes we fight and argue. So you Strength will keep strength will keep you here. Tell yourself that in the morning. Tell yourself that when you wake up. Tell yourself that when you go to sleep. Strength. Strength will keep you here. Tell yourself that in the morning. Tell yourself that every time you wake up. Ask when it will keep you here. Strength. Strength will keep you here. As long as you get your armor together, you live the fight. that chapter ends.
No regrets from Mwenso and the Shakes. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Michael. A must-see live band, Mwenso and the Shakes. Tour starts in October. Head on over to mwensoandshakes.com. mwensoandshakes.com. I'm online at a few places. talkmusictalk.com for more podcast information and to stream every single episode. You can also find me on social media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at This Is Boice. And some special requests for you. Please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and more. Just search for Talk Music Talk with Boice. And please leave a 5-star rating and or review to help expose new listeners to the podcast. And also, there is a Talk Music Talk app. It is free wherever you like to get your apps. Again, just search for Talk Music Talk with Boice. And don't forget my other podcast, the Strandcast, the official podcast of Strand Bookstore here in New York City, 12th and Broadway. Link in the show notes. Interviews with authors. You will enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening to Talk Music Talk. Until next time, and there will be a next time, this one's for you, Liz.